UN have been at loggerheads. In the latest, we hear the UN has accused Israel of trying to target its towers, with CCTV cameras being damaged and 2 of their UN workers injured. UN mission in Lebanon accusing Israeli Defense Forces of deliberately targeting its observation post tower. UN says Israeli Merkava tank fired at the UN watchtower. That resulted in at least 2 UN peacekeepers getting injured. The UN accusing Israel of firing its surveillance cameras and disabling them. UN conceding that rockets are being fired. Israel has been targeting civilian areas from around southern Lebanon. Let me cut across to Ashutosh, who's currently in Lebanon, joining us for more on that. Ashutosh, please give us more details on UN claiming that their towers have been targeted, their CCTV cameras have been damaged, and this could have been a deliberate attempt to destabilize UN observing the war situation unfold.
Well, the UNILEF was responsible to maintaining the peace at the bordering areas in the southern Lebanon between Israel and Lebanon, and that was under Article of 1701 of the United Nations. And that, but what has happened, the moment Israeli troops started advancing towards the northern Lebanon, and that particular point, whereas there are the camps of the UNILEF, the Hezbollah, because it was responding to Israeli forces, the UNILEF says the Israeli forces are deliberately making the UNILEF headquarters or UNILEF base camp as a shield. Subsequently, the response Israeli says that now the Hezbollah actually are targeting the UNILEF forces. So clearly on that conflict, Hezbollah says because of these Lebanese...
What is about to happen in Gaza in the next 24 hours might be among the worst, if not the worst, that we've seen in a year. The Israeli military has ordered that the remaining 300,000 Palestinians who are in North Gaza immediately, quote unquote, evacuate. And I say quote unquote evacuate because the term evacuation, as it's especially been used in the last year with regards to the Israeli bombardment and genocide in Gaza, is a propagandistic term, because evacuation implies that you are moving to a point of safety and that it will be temporary. And that's not the case here. And so what it is ethnic cleansing. It's depopulation. And that is what's happening right now in North Gaza. The 300,000 Palestinians have been told they have 24 hours to leave the north of Gaza, which has now been declared an Israeli military zone. And the only remaining functioning hospital, which has hundreds of critically injured Palestinians inside, has also been told that it needs to be evacuated. The last remaining bakery in North Gaza that was providing 300,000 Palestinians who have been so brutally starved by the Israelis and Americans with some food was just bombed. What that means is that the Israelis, backed by the Biden-Harris administration, are currently attempting to annex North Gaza.
This is what Gaza looked like before Israel bombarded it, with so far more than 2,000 airstrikes. And this is what it looks like now. Gaza is one of the most densely populated places in the world, with 2.3 million Palestinians crammed into a narrow coastal strip. Currently, the borders are closed. Here are some of the neighborhoods which have been hit. We've looked at some of the buildings which have been targeted, such as this university. We located it using the shapes of nearby buildings. The Israel Defense Force say they targeted it because it was being used as a training camp for weapons development. Let's look at a northern part of Gaza called Arimel. The housing is densely packed. Here it is getting hit by an Israeli airstrike. And finally, this is the Al Gharbi Mosque before the attacks and after. The Israelis have targeted a number of mosques in Gaza because they say Hamas has been using them to hide weapons in. This all gives you some idea of the sheer scale of the destruction right across Gaza. Hundreds have been killed as Israel presses on with its plan to destroy Hamas, which in turn seeks the destruction of Israel.